Hello to everyone who is listening or maybe watching this video. In this section, in this video, I'm trying to explain how the Navigator, the Flutter's Navigator, works under the hood, and I will try to make a simple application, and I will share that repository. I will put that link of my GitHub down below to the description, in the description, and I would say honestly that I don't know much more about the Navigator, but I'm trying to explain all the people who are watching this video, especially without using any packages, any part packages, which is not necessary at all. Maybe new beginners, when they come to the Flutter, and they would try to use some kind of imperative and declarative navigation in Flutter. I would say that they will try to use third-party packages. They will try to follow all this, some kind of developers, maybe bloggers, that I would say blindly following some kind of developers is not a good idea. That is why I'm trying to explain that. So the Navigator, maybe every beginner that comes to the Flutter, every one of them should know. Maybe they know, maybe you already know about the Navigator. It's some kind of stack of screens, stack of widgets that Flutter works with. Even though you can use Navigator as a declarative or maybe imperative approaches, doesn't matter. So that is why let me first of all explain how the Navigator works under the hood, or maybe let me explain how to reach specific logic in Flutter, maybe what you have to understand. For example, first of all, let me explain you that Navigator, you can use Navigator as a imperative approach. So first of all, you have let me explain that in Flutter there is a several type of for example, you have to, in imperative navigation, it's a simple one. So you can use only push and pop. For example, you have a screen, first screen, yeah, and there is a second screen goes, and there is another screen goes. What's going on? And there's a screen. And imperative navigation, it's some kind of things that helps us to put a screen on top of the other screens in Navigator, in stack of Navigator. Navigator is a class that handles all this push and pops. So that is why is there any arrow here? I don't know, maybe there's no any arrow. So even though if we don't have, I didn't find an application that I could draw normally. That is why I'm using this kind of website. It's not necessary to me show you more, like draw more to you. That is why I just want to explain all the necessary things about the Navigator. So that is why so what's going on here? So Navigator works when you do something like push. It goes something like this one, yeah, push, and you are putting some kind of screens on top of other screens. And when you want to go to other pages, you have to not other page. You have to, if you want to go backward, you have to pop on all the screens. If you want to go to the first screen, you have to pop the top screens. the upper screens maybe, then you will reach the specific screen that you want. But I want to also share that push and pop only works. It's imperative. You can't handle declarative this one here. But I want to share that all the people, all the beginners, they when they come to the Flutter, they don't know, and when they think that if they want to use the declarative navigation, especially they most of the times they see some kind of go router. I don't blame this. I only used I use this kind of packages too, but go router, or maybe this after router, maybe, yeah? It's called after route in Flutter. Yeah, this kind of packages, but yeah, they can use these ones because beginners, they have to somehow find out which is more easily to use, or maybe they don't have to spend much time to learning some kind of packages. Maybe that is why they have to use this one, or maybe they can use this one. But I'm trying to explain that without using any packages, without taking much more storage in your application, or maybe some kind of, you can use your own declarative navigation. So all of these packages that you use under the hood, they are using Flutter Navigator, or maybe routing and navigator and routing things. So I would say that, yeah, you don't have to add all these packages. You can use your own one. That's all I'm trying to explain. Well, so there is the declarative navigation, the package that you can handle with declarative navigation. But also I'm trying, this is the imperative one. You can use only push and go in a stack. But without using any packages, there's a Flutter that exists two version of Navigator. The first version, the second version that you can handle a declarative navigation. But I'm trying to explain that also in Flutter you can use. Let me explain. There is a declarative one, and you may ask that what is the reason in using this kind of declarative navigations. For example, let me explain that you have a authentication screen, maybe authentication A. Where's that? Authentication screen, and after this login screen, you have to navigate to the specific screen. Yeah, it's normally. But what if there is a case, maybe your product manager, or maybe some team leader says to you that after authentication you have to somehow put several screens, or maybe pages, whatever you call, widgets, maybe several screens on top of each other. For example, this authentication screen, and you have to navigate to another screen that at the same time you have to put two other screens after authentication, and you can drop this one. Or maybe even for example, there is a several screens that you have. For example, the first screen, this yellow one, the second screen, and again you have to put the yellow one on top of the green one. So there is a declarative one. Or even you can at the same time you can change every place you want. So at the same time, in the imperative imperative logic, you would several times you would push to the specific screen, yeah, or maybe you have some kind of loop that you would push several screens on top of each other. But look, for example, there is another screen, yeah. From that screen, you want to somehow change like this one. Let me explain. From that purple one, from this purple screen, you want to somehow go and you want to save this one on top of all others one, yeah. You want to save this purple screen, but you want to change the back one. But I want to say that it's not such a case that you will use in your applications, but I'm trying to explain that a navigator that about the navigator in Flutter, that you can basically change every behavior, every desired configuration that you want, every behavior. Yes, that is why, like this one, let me explain you. Like you have a purple one, yeah. You want to some kind of screen, you want to what was that, let's take blue one. You have a screen, you have to you have another screen which is green one, and also at the end you will take the purple one. Look, you have this purple one, and if you want that somehow without popping, pushing any screen, without any such a unexpected behavior that user, the person which is using this your application, you want that person doesn't know what's going on in your application without any noticing. You want to change the screens which were the backward, like in a back in a stack, or maybe the bottom in the stack. So keeping this screen, you want to change the others one which are behind. So that is why these screens, like this screen, take the black one, maybe this and this, yeah, this screen, and this screen will be gone, and instead of this screen, these screens will appear. So there is a declarative navigation without any pushing forward, popping forward, backward. You can use these ones. So let's go to the code, and I will try to explain you with code, starting with everyone. But at the end of the after explaining all the necessary things about the navigator, I want to explain you, let me say new. So after explaining all necessary things, I will try to explain you one most necessary thing. Let's imagine that you have two screens, yeah, first screen and another screen. Most cases when you start your application, in your application there's only one navigator in your application. That is why when you want to push, pop, or maybe declarative navigation works only with only one navigator. So in this section, in the end of that explanation that I will finish, and then I will try to explain you another case. Let's imagine that you have an application with the bottom bar, yeah, bottom navigation bar, like this one. What's happening here? Okay, yeah, well, this one. You have two screens. When you click to the first button, there is a button. Okay, there's a button, maybe card button. There is another button, which is products button. When you switch screens in the bottom navigation bar, most of the time user, people, Flutter developers, only one navigator, but I'm trying to explain you that in this section I will use two navigator. Can I type something here? Oh yeah. Where is it? Let's remove this one. Let's remove. Okay. Oh. So. First screens navigator, and there will be another second screens navigator, and both of them have their own authentication controller. Doesn't matter, block maybe, or maybe you can use a provider with a simple change notifier, something like this one. And in the previous videos, explanation videos, I explained you about the provider and change notifier, and also the scopes using with simple inherited widgets, inherited notifiers. You can take a look to my previous videos and see what's going on there. So that's all. So I'm trying to explain that every these screens, when you tap the first screens button in the bottom navbar, and the second button, when the screen appears, every one of them have their own how to say authentication scope. So maybe the first screen has the customer authentication, the second one is admin authentication, like this one. Yes. So the navigator, most of the case, I'm trying to say that people when they start to write application in Flutter, they use all of their scopes are on top of the material app, and hierarchically it goes down to the elementary. So yeah, it's only one navigator, but I'm trying to explain with two navigation in application. So let's go create a YouTube here. I will excuse me, I will put the link of this project down below in the description, so you could find and see other projects that I've done here with the Go router, with a simple navigation here, to do application with Octopus. And the thing that I'm trying to explain also the Octopus Flutter. It's this package was made by one of the best Flutter developers in Russia, all the Russian speaking countries. So he's very good guy. He's very smart at Flutter, at everything, I would say, because he's done a lot of things. The Octopus, one of the best. The package, the logger package. The was that the control package, which is similar to the block, but better than block. You have to just check it. Because of that, this I would say that the popularity, or maybe the community of this person is not much enough, but I don't know why people maybe it's all about the advertisement, you know. When you go to start learning something, when you go to the YouTube, all the people start to advertise, promote. I don't know how to explain this one. Some kind of packages that are like get X one, get it one, all of these packages which are not good enough, I would say. But this Octopus, or maybe this Octopus routing package one of the best packages, I would say. So you could use all both navigation, like imperative one and declarative navigation at the same time with this package. So declarative router, it says that declarative router also you can use the imperative one. In my application that I'm using, like this one, and this application that I'm using also uses Octopus, and also this application also for the web, for all platforms, for the Linux, for the Windows, for the web, for the Android, for the iOS, all of the platforms. So this one also uses the Octopus one. I didn't do with my own approaches, I would say, because with your own approaches you will sometimes you will handle very bad times, I would say. Then you will handle problems. That is why the community, or maybe you have to have a community that maybe somehow helps you. That is why working yourself, writing your own package is not a good idea, I would say. You have to be a very good developer, engineer to create your own package. That is why I used this Octopus in my Flutter application. This is web that I'm using. I deployed this web to the Firebase. Look, I go to the main screen, and after that I go to the all sales, I would say. This Russian one, all things are written in Russian. When I refresh the screen, look, it is the main screen. Then we went to the all sales screen. When I refresh this one, look what happens. You see, automatically it went to the all sales through this navigation things. So this Octopus is much more better than, I would say, GoRoute and AutoRoute. But they have their own approaches. Maybe I use the GoRoute, I use the AutoRoute, but I have never seen the package that looks like the Octopus. You can handle everything you want, like truly it says that it's like truly in declarative router. So I will put all the necessary links down below to the description of my YouTube channel, or my to my video that I will post this video. So that is let's create the src. Okay, the main function here, the main function. Let's create nothing else I will need. Feature, it's not necessary. It's okay, I would say, but do we have only one screen here, or maybe let's okay, come on, or maybe you can call core everything you want, feature, and that's all. Features. So let's start our code here, and step by step I'm trying to explain what will happen. Run zone guard. In previous videos I explained, I guess, about the run zone guarded, what it does under the hood, about the synchronous code, everything that relates to the run zone guarded. So let's see what happens here. What I have to explain about, it's a push pop, tell about the declarative and change the screens. Okay, we don't have to use any other pages. So there is a run application for material. So we have a stateful widget. Initialization maybe. Main YouTube app. The reason that I'm calling it YouTube, it's because of that I'm recording this for the YouTube. That is why I'm calling this YouTube. Let me do something. So let's go. Main YouTube app. Yes, let's for preventing all the unexpected errors, let's call the widget Flutter binding initialized. And then, you know what? Let's call the material app. And then let's dive into how it works under the hood. So let's I don't know much about how the material app works under the hood, but I know that material app somehow creates its own navigator under the hood. So that is why whenever you create a home, maybe a home, or maybe whenever you create a builder, this kind of builder or child that you're creating goes to the navigator. It calls navigator under the hood. So that is why let's go dive inside and see that material app, that it has some kind of let me see what it has. I guess it has an on navigator, on generate road, on generate builder. No, not builder. Let me see. Okay. Build method. Because of that, material app is a stateful widget, and all of the widgets should have a builder method. Build context. Oh, okay, I found this one. So there is a widgets app. If you go inside the widgets app, you can also see that it has routing, and it calls the navigator inside. It creates a navigator by default. So without any hesitation, without any doubt, you could use the navigator. So all the beginners don't know about the navigator, but it calls the navigator. But in this section, I'm trying to create my own navigator that you could use this one. So that is why when you create a home, maybe a home, some size box, let's see, or maybe okay, so false, and then when you create a builder context, it has context and child. So when you do something like this one, this home is exactly this child under the hood. This home that you use, it under the hood gets your home and uses as child. If you're not sure about this one, if you're not believing me, you can go and test that this one child is your home. If you don't pass the home and use the bang operator here, there exclamation mark, exactly you will get an error that the child is nullable. The child is null. So that is why in the builder we will create our own navigator. For example, this kind of navigator. So At this time, when you do the navigator thing, you will create your own navigator here. So that this widget app navigator, we will this one will not create a navigator for you. It will work with your own navigator here. So that is why let's go to the common thing and create our own app navigator. Okay, class, not class, it's simple, it's simple app navigator, I would say. The simple app navigator, the simple app navigator that calls a navigator inside. Let's take this and put this one here, app navigator. Okay, so since our application is not ready, still is not ready, so running this one will occur a lot of errors. So let's check. Okay, but is it match? Is it? Yes. So look, we are getting errors because of that. We don't have any pages here. We don't have any initial how to say that, initial screen. That is why we are getting this error. On generate road that navigator has inside, by default create a sized box, so we couldn't get any error. Let me see, there is a material builder. See, this creating a sized box by default, so we couldn't get any error. If I go to the our navigator in the pages, if I put the size box, what's happening here? Pages are the roads. Excuse me, it's a pages. That is why navigator should have a material page, or maybe Cupertino page. Doesn't matter. You could create your own type of pages, and with their own animation, maybe you can use them. That is why I will use only Navi material page and put our size box here. Let's see. So okay, this error is about that navigator. Every navigator, if we go to the navigator on generate road, you can see that the navigator uses, what was that method's name? Yeah, on did remove page, on did remove, it doesn't have on did remove page. So it says that you have to use or did remove on page, one of these methods you have to use. So we will use on did remove page road. Okay, road. And this one should have its own some kind of method inside it to check that our our method was filled properly. So the road, before going backward or maybe popping the screen, we have to check whether we can pop or not. If we can't, we have to return the function, and we have to check that the road. So look, since we added only one thing here and only one thing here, it doesn't give any error, I guess. Yeah, so it doesn't have any error. So it doesn't have any error. And so let's continue. And App Navigator by default has to have something in it. That is why let's go to the, maybe let's call our widget like, you know what, like maybe game feature. It's a game feature. Another feature we'll call a maybe station, maybe, or maybe let's call admin, and then let's call to the customer, maybe customer. Okay. And in the customer screen, let's create the widgets folder. In admin also we have to create a widgets folder. A customer should have a customer screen. Remember that in Flutter there is a rule exists that you don't have to call your Dart files like page one. Because of that, if you go to the this one material page, this kind of things like pages and let's find out. Pages exist in Flutter. There are a lot of pages. That is why if you call something like material page, it doesn't fit with the Flutter that has something in it. Like I mean that a material page, it's a Flutter commonly used widgets, I would say. That is why it's some kind of widget that uses Flutter under the hood. You don't have to call your Flutters or maybe Dart file with the page. That is well, or you can call a widget like customer widget, or maybe you can call customer screen. It's better one. For example, if you have a screen to show. So let's call this one a customer screen and another one admin screen. Okay. Let's do with the something with the customer screen. Full customer screen. Let's call this one a customer screen. The simple app bar. A simple application. Okay. Simple app customer screen, and we will go to the app navigator. App navigator was the main, and you can use the home widget here. You can put the your customer screen directly here. Okay. You can use the home property, your customer screen directly in the home property, and send your home property, or, as I said in the previously, that home widget is exactly the child one. Let me show you. So since we have our own navigator, and the material one is now working here, since we are using the app navigator here, we have to somehow send our pages, or maybe initial pages here. That is why let's call our something like list pages, empty page, and in our app navigator let's call final list page initial, which I guess that it has to be, or maybe, yeah, let's do it nullable, which we will call this variable initial pages. So when we want to use app navigator somewhere, we want to use with the initial pages. Okay, required this initial pages, and in its state it's a simple implementation. It's I don't have to explain what's going on here. You can check the widget. And I want to mention that all this information that I'm providing, explaining you, it's to the people which understand about the Flutter, about maybe the beginners, not beginners, maybe juniors one, maybe the middles one, the people who know even simple information about Flutter and navigation. So let's check first whether it's not null, or maybe it's null, at all the initial pages. Widget initial pages, and let's put this one inside them. As I said to you, that what's going on here? I said it's required. It doesn't have to be required, and as I said previously, so material app using a size book inside, so it should not send any error. That is why for now I just provided a empty sized box, so we couldn't get any error for our application. So now we have to use pages. We will get error again here because there is no any initial road here. So we will go to the app navigator, and you can use to the initial pages our material page. Since we are waiting for a page here, we have to send something like material page wrapped with the our child should be wrapped with the material page. So that is why we will call a child here. Look, we won't get any errors because of that we are using home here, and home, this parameter home, will be used as child. If we remove home, we'll get a null exception. So you can't use, I would say you can't use in home directly here. So like customer screen, yeah, you know why? It may work, but for now you are having two navigators here. Why? Because when you do something like app navigator, this is exactly app navigator is, there's two navigators. We don't have to use this one. It's a very bad idea, I would say, because in home this builder will take your, as I did previously, take this one and put here, and also there's a navigator under the hood, so there will be two navigators. That is why don't do that one. That is why either you can remove this whole code from home parameter like this one, you can remove this one and put inside the child, or maybe just like as previous one as I did here, like this one. So everything is working pretty fine. Okay, here we have our own navigator. Whatever you do, like push pop, as I explained here, like here, that if you go push directly from here, you go to the another screen. From this first screen to another screen, it sounds like this one. So let's call it this one, title customer screen. You know what, it's better if we go to the cloud. Yeah, let's use for the UI, let's use cloud. Okay, floating action button, just one widget. Let's see what it will do. Make up the guy, make up better UI and UI with the default information maybe. Oh no, I didn't move this one. Okay, let's copy this, let's put it there. Okay, let's go and create a common here, a model here. Let's call it user, YouTube user, all the necessary. Let's text name, email, phone, company name, email. Then will it help me? This name. So it's in a simple implementation that it doesn't have to, that I don't have to explain you what's going on here. So we'll just call it customer. Let's see what it does. What the hell is it? Okay, another one we will call a YouTube user, which is admin. Okay, so that's good. Interesting. So you have a user here. You may have user here. So let's, okay, let it be as it is right now. We will create our own thing with our authentication control later, but just let it be here. So look, what I want to say. Let's say that there's a customer screen, okay? And we have to, from this screen, navigate to another screen by clicking the floating action button. If you want to use our own app navigator here, I want to show somehow that we can use our app navigator here. We have to go to another screen. So what is the implementation that we can go to another screen by using our own thing? So look what you can do here. So let's create a function, change page maybe, yeah? But we won't call it change page, we will call go and do something like this one. We will say that we will use a function that takes our own list of pages and returns a list of page. A function that takes our these pages here and returns a page. Right, so there is one new pages, fan pages, and I have a same code here. That is why we don't have to write a lot of things. Just stop the video and rewrite all of the necessary things from here. So just a simple function. So you can also add a push and pop here, which is simple ones. Push to the screen page, to the page. We will change, we will use our own function change that takes our pages, and with the new pages it puts our page, and the same thing with pop. So change, let's take these pages, it's all the pages that we have, and we will dynamically or declaratively change our pages here. Let me see what will happen here. List of pages are removed last, or even you can check here pages length is 2, then we don't have to pop. Okay, then let's go and in the app navigator here, let's create a, I would say a static function, void change function, that does exactly same as here, like this one. But it also takes a build context, and through the context we have to find our this app navigator. So app navigator state, I would say. Through the context we have to find this state. So how we can check or find our state, I show all this necessary information in my previous videos, so you can go and check all of my videos there about the build context, about the elementary. So context, we have to not using without find ancestors state of type. So we have to find this one and call the change function, which can be nullable, I would say. Okay, because this find ancestor state of time returns a nullable state. That is why. But since we are using App Navigator, the state will never be nullable. That is why this thing will 100% will work. So let's go to our here, and through the App Navigator, you can use change all pages. Maybe off. Look, you better know what. Let's go and change here YouTube App Navigator. It's much more better, I guess. So because of that, I have another project here, simple projects here that uses the same logic here. That is why we are getting an error here. So App Navigator, that's good. YouTube App Navigator, that's good. Customer screen, go YouTube App Navigator, change. So we have a pages here, okay. Pages here. We'll take our current pages, stack of pages, and we will add the new one. So that is why we have to create a customer detail screen. There is a widget that I have, simple widget. We will use that one, but we will rename some specific things here there. Okay, or maybe just create our own customer detail screen, scaffold, app bar, title, text, customer detail screen, and let's use our material page, like this one maybe, yeah. So let's see what happens. Here we go. That is the exactly behavior that the simple navigator push and pop does. A simple navigator does. We are using the exactly same navigator, but with our own approach in order to explain you how it works under the hood. Maybe it does much more better, like checkings, statements, all of the necessary things, but in order to explain you, it's a simple implementation, but you don't have to use our own implementation, but you have to use the Flutter themes navigator that they do. If you go to the documentation, or maybe to the Flutter's code, that open source code, everything is open there. You can check everything, you can see how they use under the hood, much more better implementation they have. So I don't know, that is why in order to explain you, I'm doing such things. Push build context, just a page, and we push page here, and the static pop. This is the declarative one, I would say. We will use this one as declarative, and these ones imperative ones. Imperative type of navigation here. It's the simple thing, as I said previously. If you can take this one, instead of calling change, we will call the push material context, and it takes our own screen. Let's check it once again. working exactly same as previous one. But I'm trying to explain you as a declarative one. This one is imperative, and maybe all of you know about the imperative navigation. That is why we'll not dwell on it now. Right now, we'll use only change this change one, and that's all. All the necessary thing that we want right now is this change one. That's all. So the imperative declarative navigation here, and what I want to do here, is there is one problem here I want to show you right now. So look, let's close this, make macOS, and open the Android one. Okay. Let's close it, and how to show mode the window. I want to use Android emulator because it has platform buttons. These buttons, I don't know how to call it. It has platform buttons, and the behavior of this imperative app navigator that we're creating doesn't work properly here, but we will solve that problem. But I want to show the problem, what kind of problem exists there. Let's check. This is the project, very old project. I have to change all the necessary things. If it runs, it will be very good. I just recently cloned this project in order to explain you, because this project use also routing logic there. I used to write some code in this specific project before, about maybe 6 or 7 months ago. I wouldn't say this is an old project, but it has to somehow run, maybe. Let's check. We will wait a minute. If it takes a long time, I will record another video, and then I will combine all of the videos. Let's wait a little bit. Okay, that's worked. Okay, so look, it's a default logic of the Flutter's Navigator. When we go to the specific screen, when we click here, it works fine. Okay, what's happening here? Well, it's working like this. From pages, it takes all the pages and puts the customer detail screen. going on here? It's this one here. But I don't understand what's happening here. Why it's not working properly. What? Ah, this one. I'm just wonder why it's not working. Let me see once again. Wow. What's happening here? I guess this one's the reason, like this one. Let's check. It is the reason. I remember that. Yeah, it's the reason because we are returning on the remove page when it's removing, but actually it's not removing. It has to remove the last one. So there's no any bug. So what I wanted to show you about the specific thing, specific error or bug that happens all the time, it's the platform buttons. For example, when you click this one, look what happens. You see, it has to go back, and from that screen, it has to go back like this one. But when I click the platform button, back button, it closed the application entirely. But it doesn't have to work like this one. That is why we will solve this problem by widgets, Flutter binding, Flutter observer, I would say. Okay, and through this widget binding observer, we can solve the problem of like when we initiate a widget, we have to widgets flooding observer with this one register. We have to with this one, or maybe instance register, or maybe also add observer. This one through this mixin, we can handle this back buttons or something like this one. So we will check. In this pose we have to remove the observer. So in its state, let's take all of them and put under this pose. Change method. What would have to do? What else we have to do? Okay, we have to override a did pop road, and let's put this code directly here. So it's the pop, maybe. It should exactly work like this one. Pop. Let's check. Oh, that's what we need. You see? Working as we expected. Working pretty fine, and that's all. So let's git this one, commit this one. And so the main reason of mine is was about explaining you about the Flutter's several navigation that you could use. So maybe what I'm trying to explain you, I want to say that in the imperative mode you can create several things, as I said. For example, since you are having a customer detail screen directly here, you can copy all of them. You can copy all of them, and maybe you could do something like this one: pages, material screen, and material page. You could put here admin screen. Let's like this one. Open full admin screen. Admission, and then you can put again the customer detail screen. Okay, and then the admin screen. Let's see what happens. So what we are doing here, it's the when you click here, it puts the customer detail screen, then admin screen, and then a customer detail screen at the same time. Look, admin screen, customer detail screen, this one, and then here customer detail screen, then go to the admin screen, customer detail screen again, and then the last screen. So that is the imperative one. You can either like this one, you could do like this one. Let's copy these two, take all of them, do something like final copied pages, list of pages. Okay, then maybe you could or maybe just do something like this one. Look, put two of them and then pages. This is pages. We don't need this. Maybe you could do directly like this one, changing the whole navigator stack. Because of that, this is our main screen here. We will change the main screen with admin screen, then customer details screen, then pages. Look what happened. See what happened? If you go back, it opens the customer details screen. Okay. If you go back, it closes the opens the admin screen. Or maybe, you know what? It's better, I guess. Put the customer screen directly here. Customer details screen, admin screen. The first screen was changed with admin screen here. It's the behavior that we want, because maybe you are thinking about the declarative navigation. It sounds like about the routing, yeah. But in the routing, even in routing, you can't get this kind of behavior. Maybe even in a web development, when you're writing a JavaScript, maybe Vue, Next.js, React, doesn't matter. You have a specific configured navigation routing in your application, that user can go to the specific navigation, to the specific routing which you are already configured that one. The user doesn't have another type of routing there, even though this our Flutter Go router works exactly like that one. You have to write your configured, you have to write your desired configuration first, then you will navigate to in your screens. But right now we don't need that one. We are talking about the real declarative navigation. We are talking about the real declarative navigation here. So you could change your stack of pages directly without, like, you may think about that, but in this section maybe the routing, the name of screen will not appear in a browser's URL searching here. I mean like this one. But if you want that, you want to, for example, using my method, navigator method, it's not my method exactly, but the thing that I'm doing, if you want to use my code and at the same time change the here, like web navigator path, you can go and check the octopus. As I said, it's the package of one of the best programmers out there in Russian speaking countries. So he's very good at what he does. He's very good at what he does. It's the thing that I'm talking, like this one. It's exactly works as it's my code. Actually, it's his code, I would say. It's the best guy. I've learned everything from him. That is why my method that I'm writing pages, like my code here, works exactly like him, like Octopus. But he does more functionality than my code, I would say. So it's the not thing that we want right now, okay? It's not a good thing, but maybe I will comment here so you could find here. Okay, then but we need another behavior pages, and then material page, customer details screen. That's what we will now, or right now. So I showed you the declarative navigation here, but I also want to share something else here about using the same navigator several times. Okay, several times not several, 2 times, same navigator 2 times. Every one of them have their own stack of widgets and then have their own stack of pages, I would say. Every one of them have their own scope, authentication scope. We'll create a controller with change notifier. We'll create a scope for that navigator. As you have heard about that, when you create a provider on top of the material, it says that your scope, provider scope, is wrapping a navigator. So that is why whenever you do like context read, context watch, it goes to the elementary up to elementary and finds your provider from there. Since that we wrapped our navigation with a provider, so every widget in navigator can see your provider there. That is why if I do something on top of here, like if I have a provider, something like this one, and it has a child, okay, and our child is navigator, so it means that whatever I have in a provider will be visible in navigator stack. So context will find that one. I mean, every widget in every pages that navigator has access to the scope. But in this section, I don't want to use provider. We will use only specific authentication, not authentication, but the simple inherited widget and inherited notifier, which is the provider package. It does exactly same as it's the inherited widgets. I would say provider is this inherited widget, inherited notifier, change notifier is inherited notifier. So that is in this section. I don't want you to use any packages, just simple Flutter, simple framework without any packages. So let's not talk a lot and let's code. I would say when I'm coding, most of the times I don't speak a lot, I would say. So that is why if I'm not talking, just follow me. You will understand what I'm doing, and sometimes I will explain what I'm doing, but just listen, okay? Just watch. I wanted to say. So we have here like this one. Let's go and create a thing called home and call it authentication. Okay, and it would be better, should be inside the features, and the user should be inside the authentication model. Okay, let's create authentication controller. We have a YouTube user, we have a controller that will be authentication controller. Just a class authentication control with a simple mixing change notifier, okay, from the Flutter foundation. So what else should we do here? We have to have a YouTube user which maybe it's nullable first because we are not authenticated, and then we will go and create a login, maybe just login, okay, call, and we will expect a user. What kind of user? And this user work out. That's good. The editor wrote specific logic, necessary logic instead of us. So we have all necessary things here. So we have to, in authentication, create a widget. Widgets, maybe you can call, since in Flutter everything is widget, we have to call not pages, not what is that? Not pages, not what was that name? Presentation. Yeah, you don't have to call your layers like presentation. It's Flutter, it's not Kotlin maybe, or maybe any other framework or programming languages. It's Flutter. You have to follow the Flutter rules. There's a also effective Dart exist. You can go and read everything here. It's a lot of effective things here. Just take a look. It's my suggestion for you, for every one of person which is listening closely to my words, which I want to say thanks a lot. So we have to create the authentication scope here. Since inherited widget, inherited notify, all of them are widgets. Okay, we have to create an inherited widget authentication scope. Proxy widget, it's a widget. But we don't have to inherited widget. We don't have to extend an inherited widget. We have to use an inherited notifier. Inherited notifier and inherited widget exactly same, but the differences are that we don't have to update should notify. We don't have to use update should notify. And inherited notifier like takes a I would say this kind of notifier, listenable. Okay, this kind of listenable it takes, listens to the listenable, and by default under the hood changes that deals with update should notify itself. So that is why we have to wait for authentication controller. We have to use our child. We have to wait for our controller. Okay, and also then we have to send our controller to the super class. So that's all here. Oh no, okay, let's see what can happen. So there's a widget, there is a notifier. We have to widget. We have to get element of the authentication scope widget. If widget is not, it should be assertion will be dropped in a release. That is why we are checking that the widget should not be null, otherwise it shows this kind of error. And then we have to use our widget as authentication scope. Then we have to return our controller exactly. So whenever we do authentication scope dot of context, we are getting our authentication controller from the scope. So that is what we need, everything we need. So let's go to the customer screen. Okay, let's go to the home screen. Better create the widgets, create a home screen. We will create our tab directly in this screen. That is why let's go create a stateful home screen. Okay. Let's call it not home, but let's say body. It's a body. Bottom sheet, bottom navigation bar we need, and we need a final current tab, which is simple value notifier. It's an integer. Okay, that's all we need. And let's wrap our with the value listenable builder current tab. Value listenable is not necessarily just listenable builder, but better because all of them are good, but right now we don't have to write a lot of code. Bottom navigation bar. I will go to my another project and grab specific things from there. I need this one right now. I can customer or maybe user verify user person first people. It's a customer, it's a admin, and we'll take our home screen, go to the main one, use instead of customer screens here. Let's see, it won't work, I guess. Yeah, oh, it's working. Now we have to put our body inside our body. We can create a indexed stack. In body you can use whatever you want, your own widgets, maybe you can use all your own stack, but since we are if you're using your own widgets, you have to be properly with that one. You have to be you have to be sure that you're not doing anything mistakenly. So it has children. So look, what that is the main logic that I have to explain you. Since the customer screen, it had its own I would say app navigator. In home screen, each tab will have its own navigator. You would ask why and how. So when a customer goes, registers something, goes to the specific screen, or maybe walks around the application, taps everywhere, and goes to the admin has its own authentication scope. So that is why you can use this kind of logic everywhere you want through the app navigator that I'm doing right now. Okay, just think about that. It's very simplified, it's straightforward, I would say. There is no any complicated things that you may do any mistakes. There is no any hard thing to do, I would say. So that is why what I will do here. Our index is current tab value. So okay, when we click on tab, it sets the index value called a notify listeners, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, yeah, it's calling the notify listeners. So we will call our app navigator, not app navigator, YouTube app navigator. We will call this twice. Okay, we'll call this twice, but since if I call this twice, it means that we have 3 navigators in our application. We don't want this one right now. Okay, that is why we go and just take a home screen. Maybe we don't need a builder here, so let's check. That's working. Everything's working fine because we are not we didn't set initial roles. Initial role should be customer screen here. Okay. Material page, customer screen. Initial page, material page, admin screen. Look what happens. It's working exactly as we want, brother. Everything, every tab has its own navigator. You see? The main page is its own navigator, but two tabs have its own navigator too. Seems okay. So you may ask that before, how we can handle that every navigator will have its own authentication scope. So since I explained you that navigator in main screen, when we are going and like something like maybe authentication scope, when you do like this one something and put your material app here, it means that every widget, every screen that you're using in your application, entirely in your application, when you want to when you want to refer to the specific scope authentication controller through the provider, to the block, maybe block provider, everything doesn't matter. When you want to have any access to your controllers and you put that controls on top of the material app, it means that that controls will be, you can't get access to everywhere in your application. Okay, it means that all those providers blocks are initialized on top of the navigator. It means since the material app creates its own navigator, if we don't create any one, this one would create our own navigator, as I showed recently. So we are commented this one, it's creating its own navigator and putting our authentication scope on top of it. But right now, since we have two, I would say two tabs, and every one of them should have their own navigators, the two navigators should have their own scopes. What should we do? Exactly. We'll go to the home screen. We'll go to the YouTube API Navigator. Inside this navigator that we have here, we will create what? We could create them inside here. Inside this one, we could create two controllers authentication and put on top of this one, but not, since we have app navigator class. Every time when we call them, will be created new instance of the navigator. We will go and create here final authentication controller, authentication controller. Up, everything we need. And we will put our authentication controller with authentication scope, authentication controller, and that's all. So we are waiting for listenable, change notify is listenable, and also that authentication scope, where is it? This notifier is listenable too. This inherited notifier will be, it waits for notifier which is listenable. That is why we put our, where is it? Okay. Put our authentication here, no any errors. Put the navigator, which is working pretty fine. So it means that all the pages that will refer to the authentication score, YouTube navigator, excuse me, once again, any pages that will refer to the YouTube app navigator through the app, the YouTube app Navigator, they will have access authentication scope, this authentication control. So that is why when I did something like this one, these two tabs has their own, excuse me, these two tabs have their own authentication controller. So this one have its own controller. Let's dive inside. You see, and this one has its own controller. But I'm kind of person that even though Flutter and Dart under the hood clears all those objects that don't have references, the garbage collection, if you ever heard about the garbage collector in Flutter, it's such a thing that checks your memory, and if the application screen doesn't have any references to your objects, variables, all those necessary things, it will clear your memory. That is why even though if we don't close or dispose our controllers, by the time garbage collection somehow closes or maybe disposes all those necessary things there, don't be worried about it. They say that don't be worried about that, some kind of controllers. Don't be worried, like text editing controller or maybe change notifier, all those necessary things that Flutter has under the hood. They said that you don't have to be worried about them. So Flutter engine, excuse me, for the garbage collector clears instead of you, even though if you didn't dispose them. But I'm the person, such a person that all the time closes everything. That is why let's close this one. And let's go on. Just 1 minute, I will come back. So I'm here. Let's carry on about what we were talking about. So these two tabs have their own authentication scope. Okay, so if we are doing any login here, if we authenticated here, we are not authenticated here. So different tabs, different navigator, and this scope will be visible wherever we go, like here, maybe it doesn't matter where. I'm trying to explain you here. So since we have custom screen here, we say have a card here. Okay, take this card, let's call a list view better. Okay, children, and put it here for now. Let's go remove this one and call, let's take our authentication controller. For the new people, beginners that are watching this video, I would say that maybe you're using a provider. You could do like something like context, maybe authentication. Let me show authentication controller. Maybe you could do something like context read, yeah, and take you could take your controller like doing like this one. The provider do exactly same as I showed in authentication scope. Similar this one, maybe it has some kind of checker statements maybe, but it works exactly same as mine right now. So we call authentication scope. Okay. Authentication scope of contact returns a controller of a controller. So we had a scaffold. We will wrap that scaffold with listenable builder. If you go and watch my previous video, as if I'm not mistaken, I talked about simple state management like listenable builder, such things. You can find the video, I guess. You can find, yeah. Return our scaffold here. We can if that we can take our user dot user, and we say that if user not null, show this one name, user name. What was that? Name. We are not authenticated, that is why it's not showing. So otherwise we will show a outline, maybe it doesn't matter, and text login. Our user type will be customer. Okay, so the first tab is customer. We have to log in like as a customer. Let's check. Login. You see, it's working. John Smith. So you have to copy exactly same code and take this code to the admin screen. We will change some places here, like authentication scope. We'll take that authentication, will not use this admin screen. YouTube will be, YouTube user will be authenticated like user, or make sure admin. Login. Okay, it's working, and we'll do this one for now. So let's see. Login from admin is Jane Doe. If you go to the customer, it's still login screen. They are not same person, as you see. It's an admin one, it's a John Smith one. So that is why when we go to if you go to the customer detail screen, okay, we can take our authentication controller. That's not file. Authentication scope of context. Take all of them. Return listenable builder. customer detail screen, body, center, child, authentication username. You can do something like this one, John Smith. Authentication admin screen, admin. Let's take customer admin detail screen. Put this all code from the admin screen here, but rename this. Admin detail screen. Let's see, login. Let's go. It has its own navigation. If we go to the admin, it has its own John Doe. It's because of this one. Admin detail screen. John Doe, John Smith. You see? Looking very well, very pretty fine. So what I wanted to show you, what else I wanted to show you. Let's go. Let's do some checkers here. Let's go and say that if authentication user is null, not return us, return here, but scaffold messenger. Flutter show snake bar, text, login first. Let's stop this, take this one and put here too. Login first, login first. So what I wanted to show you for these ones, a declarative navigation, using a navigator, you can use your own navigator stack, whatever you want. For example, here's a button over on top of the app navigator. In actions, you can create a button that goes to the admin screen directly, maybe, or maybe it goes somewhere in another place, which it has its own navigator. In your application could have 3-4 navigator classes, navigator objects that you can use, or maybe in initialization of the application you can create a value notifiers that has an app navigator inside, maybe. So from the anywhere of your application you can change your navigator stack without any hesitation, without any adapting there. So that is everything that I wanted to show. So through this code that I used here, you can dynamically, declaratively change your pages, show whatever page you want to show. You know, for example, you have a customer screen, you can show admin. Now you can't show admin screen because it will have its own let me see what will happen. Login. So customer screen taking your, I guess that even the admin screen is taking your authentication control. You see, it's admin screen taking your John Smith, your customer screen. Look, it's a John Smith, customer detail John Smith, and then admin. With the admin screen, you are showing another user. If you go here, it's a Jane Doe, it's a John Smith. So I mean that you can declaratively change your own necessary things here. You know, any page you want to show, or maybe after authentication you want the overall like change your whole navigation stack, send you to the specific screen, but with the stack one, he's looking to the screen, but he can't pop from the screen. No, that is what I want to say. To the navigator and things that I showed you right now, you could do everything you want to the navigator. So that is everything I wanted to show you. You could use your own type of app navigator here in a builder, as I showed you without the home screen. Since we have these two ones, that is why I needed to comment this one. We don't have to use this one since we have this kind of screen. So home screen should work like. So that is why if you want to create your own type of app navigator, declarative navigator that I showed you, you have to remove these ones. You have to always use your YouTube app navigator, and everything I showed you about the octopus. You can use octopus. You can come and see. I will put this repositories link down below to the description, in the description, so you could find. I will put other people's practices, how they use their articles. I will put the link of their articles, their YouTube channels. You could find about them, read about them. I want you that I want you to not follow all those people in every way in YouTube that they spend about 1 year in development, and they are teaching someone else how to do specific thing. I just mean that everybody is doing their best, I mean, but I think that people don't have to like blindly follow all these ones. We are engineers, we are not AI traders. Remember that. So come here, check my code. If you have any questions about that, just ask me in the comments. I will try to explain you. I will try to maybe help you. So that's what I wanted to show you. All things that I wanted to show you, it's these ones. Without any package, without anything. This specific YouTube feature, YouTube application, or whatever you want to call, this one doesn't use any packages. You don't have to use any package for creating specific this YouTube thing. For the others one, you may use add packages, but just take a look for all of them. You can see that they're very good too. You can maybe find out new things about how it works under the hood, how it works, the Flutter's Navigator class, Navigator Flutter, Navigator class, or widgets app Flutter. About these ones you can find out more information. So that is what. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon. Maybe in the future I will try to explain about my, as I said, Avera Web Flutter in the company where I'm working right now. I will take a permission from them in order to show all the specific places in the project that how I work in the project, on the project, excuse me. Try to explain them, like going through all code base, and let's see what happens. So thank you very much for watching once again. If you have any questions, ask me. Goodbye.